Hello, welcome to Apex Racing TV and the iRacing Le Mans series. I am Sam Fitzpatrick. Alongside me is Tyler Vickery with Sam Kumo on the cameras this evening. And we just have missed the right at the start of this Nordschleife race, but we haven't missed too much. It is Patrick leading away ahead of Fabrice Cornes in the LMP1 field. Not too many big incidents to take account of yet, but I think, Tyler, there could be a few of them today. Never has this combination of track and car been used, and well, we could see plenty of blood out on the circuit today.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with Nordschleife being 13. I'm hoping I say this right. I'm so used to the imperial measure. I want to say it's about 13 kilometers for you guys based off Nordschleife. It's a very long track, but with these LMP1s, I'm scared to see what the times are because this is going to be some intense racing by these guys as well as the LMP2s as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're going to get less than 6-minute lap times. I'm not quite sure, but we'll have to wait and see. Of course, we've also got the LMP2s and the GTEs up there. Of course, that multi-class factor. We're not going to see too many, kind of laps down for the GTs, but it will still be very important. Johan Haar pulling away in the LMP2s currently ahead of Pierre Verne. Good to see him around. And Pete Harrod as well. Apex Racing TV regular in the BSR series. And he's running very well in third. And then in the GTEs, Carl Jansen's actually got ahead of Thomas Taylor right at the start. It seemed like Taylor managed to stay ahead through those first few corners, but is now behind his rival. So clearly made a mistake or something. And yeah, those guys leading the GT field currently.
Yeah, I almost want to add in too, especially with how long this track is and how demanding it is. Some of these other drivers in like the HPDs, like a good example here, Carl Jansen's catching up to Adam Farmer. So it's gonna be this track's gonna be based off of driver's skill on how much they want to commit into the corners, which it's going to be interesting, especially if some of these like faster cars like the LMP1s, if some of these drivers are a little struggling trying to be able to control these cars in these tighter sections and slower sections of the Nordschleife. I wouldn't be surprised if we see like the GTE field pass a few of these higher class cars.
Yeah, I think Farmer got caught up in a spin on the first couple of corners. I think that was the most noticeable thing. I think Farmer and I think a couple of other drivers in the HPD class just spinning. I wonder if that damage is costing him quite a bit of time, currently just sucking him back into the GT field. This is what we're going to see a lot today, long trains, as we just see a replay of what happened to Atia Tassis now right to the rear of the field. And oh, this is why. And yeah, already one LMP1 casualty out there, and of course back to the pits he goes. So we're going to see plenty of casualties out there. Julien Ribelet currently still in third position, but he's already 8.5 seconds off the lead. The two Pure Racing team drivers certainly asserting their dominance.
As always, especially with Patrick Wolff and Fabrice Cornelis, it'll be fun, just like how last week was with Circuit of Americas. That was a great battle between both of them until Fabrice made a costly mistake there near the end to give Patrick Wolff the win. Could the same factor be in place for both Patrick Wolff and Fabrice Cornelis tonight?
Yeah, of course, that was traffic in the end costing. I think it was Patrick who just lost out in the end through the traffic. And, well, of course, like I said earlier on, we're not going to see a whole lot of lapping up there. Remarkably little to what we usually have. It's only an hour-long race. But when we do get to the traffic, that could be really quite chaotic. And, well, could be the deciding factor as Kankapatsi puts it into the wall. And a very top GT driver clearly not liking this combination of car and track today. We've now had 3 LMP1 retirements already.
Yes, that's really unfortunate there. It's going to take a lot of control, and especially with, you got to have the setup just right with being able to attack some of these turns, especially the carousel, as we're seeing Pete Harrod going through the carousel. And it's good. This setup's going to be interesting. It's probably going to be a lot of different variety setups. So I would say probably if you can get that right, that setup just right, where you can be able to attack the curbs, you might have an advantage in this long run, especially with that hour-long race.
Here comes Diego Melro right on the tail of Ellie Dove. Not usually too much of a slipstream effect, but you can see Noah there just glancing past his rival there. Now his rival will get the slipstream back, but actually Ellie Duff just losing a little bit of time. You can see falling back, and this is what we see in this HPD car so often. Drivers running different downforce levels, and well, that can really hurt you in your race car. And you can see Dove losing, what, probably about a second to her rival right down this straight. And well, the Dove actually started very near the front, started third in the HPDs, now down to 6th place. So maybe a little bit of damage or maybe a mistake earlier on in this lap.
Absolutely, and when we were on that onboard with Eli Dub as well, I noticed that they weren't near at the high point of the rev, so possibly too they probably weren't getting the maximum amount of power out of that car the long straights as he locks up the tires there going into the very short little chicane.
Checking in on the GTEs, as you see, Neidhart getting quite close to Matusuzak. I think Matusuzak? Not quite sure. Let us know on the chat, of course. Yeah, I think about 6th and 7th position. This battle for they've already fallen quite a bit behind the other GT cars. Expect big gaps between the drivers, but at the same time, we could have a few chains out there because, of course, qualifying was external. Some drivers put a lot of effort into external qualifying, some not quite so much, so the starting order may not be too representative of these guys' true pace. And of course, in a race round here, you have to treat it completely differently to qualifying. And currently, Pete's struggling quite a bit. Simon Eschers right on the tail of Yona Karima.
And as we're looking at another decent battle here, got the orange Porsche and the 22 of Simon Aces actually in the Ford trying to get around the 29 of Shona Karima. He's not going to be able to pull it off yet in the Grand Prix circuit part. He does have the inside line coming into the hairpin turn. Is he going to be able to? Might barely, but it looks like Simon Itch is going to be able to pull off the move and stay in.
Yep, Ash is just staying behind at the moment. Can he go to the inside here? Of course, you're so desperate to get the move done on this part of the circuit, whilst, you know, it's a normal race circuit. The rest of the track, it's very difficult to pull off a move. So this is important now, because if he doesn't get the move done right now, he's going to spend some 5 minutes behind his rival, because we're using the quick chicane here. And you know what? His rival leaving quite a bit of room on the inside here. That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to have the corner, because as we see, you can go side by side through this section, and it's Ford versus Porsche, and I think Porsche is going to win out, and Porsche is going to win out a second time there. And yep, 3, and Esch is there. Yeah, makes the move.
Yep, and the 14 took advantage of that too, as the 29 Jonah Karuma just had no chance as the 14 came flying in there. Actually, sorry, that's 14. Where was that blue Porsche? Oh, it was a 32. Okay, my apologies. Same paint scheme, just wrong number. But that was a great pass though by Sean Farrington, being able to take advantage. Woo! As the Ferrari behind him had a little bit of a lunge there. Clive Lawrence at 25. Great catch though as well, not to damage that car in the process.
Here comes Tamas Bouzas though to the outside. There's very little you can do here unless you can get an incredible amount of momentum. That Ford looking very quick down the straights, and now he's going to be in the slipstream. He's looking every which way to make a move, but you know what, he's just lost a little bit of time there. Probably had to get out of the throttle, and yeah, pretty much no overtaking chances around this part of the circuit, despite the high speeds and the kind of quite major big things. You're going to have to be very brave to go for a move into this one.
Absolutely, is that gap now between each other, between the 25 and 18s, about 0.6 of a second, but 0.6 of a second here is very long. But at the same time, got to be very precise on when you want to make any moves, because if you make one mistake on trying to make an overtake, it either could end in disaster with you hitting the wall, or you lose a massive amount of time trying to be able to catch back up.
Richard Hounslow seemingly struggling quite a bit. And yeah, he's quite far down the order currently is Richard, so I don't know what's happened to the 31 car out there. I'm just
It looks like Just watching it, it looks like been caught up in some damage and some accidents as well. He's got that right rear is a little bit bent in as well.
Yeah, trying to get out of the way of his opponent. That's a lot easier said than done because, of course, it is such a narrow circuit. And these cars pretty wide themselves, actually, so not particularly easy, but Richard did a good job there. And we're just seeing so many LMP1 casualties currently. But these two still roaring along. That's how far ahead these guys are already. And Patrick Wolf not dropping his teammate at the moment. Fabrice Collier is keeping each other very honest currently. It's just a case of who will make a mistake first. How much are they willing to push? How much confidence do they have around here? And Wolf seemingly trying to break the toe already. So, you know, they're teammates, but at the same time, you know, they're the only two which can beat each other. And so there's quite a fierce rivalry going on.
Looking back towards this GTE field as the 25 of Clive Lawrence is trying to catch up to the 28 of Marcel Jacquin right now. And my camera went crazy.
Yes, unfortunately the same for me, so I think that's just a replay of what happened to Lawrence. Yeah, and having quite a few issues there is Clive Lawrence. So, yeah, we saw him having a small mistake and maybe just pushing it a little bit too far that time. And he's lost touch with that big pack of drivers that he was with initially. Because if he can just finish this race, he might still get a decent result. So the Ferrari driver needs to try to stay in high spirits out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I just look back. I'm looking at watching the live stream as well, being able to see the replay of what happened. Yeah, Clive Lawrence. It looked like when he went into the one little corner that he was at, looked like his left rear tire just barely nudged the rumble strips. And with some of these rumble strips, you want to hit them at the right point, otherwise they will bite back at you. And it looks like the rumble strips bit back at Clive. Luckily no severe damage, but it looks like he just probably scraped the under panel a little bit, so he'll probably lose a little bit of downforce.
Here was the move from Antoine Cousin, getting the move done on Julien Ribley. So Ribley, who started off in 3rd position, loses that place. This is pretty much the best of the rest battle. But of course, if the top two have issues, which is very possible, this could turn into the battle for the lead. And they're still 2.5 seconds ahead of Michael Schwanzer. Still Arcadius Newman in 6th position, keeping these guys relatively honest as well. You can see he's not too far behind. On that last lap, he was, in fact, 10 seconds slower. 10 seconds or slower was his best time. But yeah, just losing a little bit of time there is Newman. So he's going to struggle to put too much pressure on them later on. Also, should just let you know, of course, Johan Haas still leading the way and by quite a significant margin over Pierre Byrne. Not Haas' normal opponents today. No Pascal Stix, of course. And yeah, a couple of others who are usually almost at Johann's level, but today he's been very much unchallenged. 18 seconds clear currently.
Yeah, for Johan right now, it almost just seems like he just got to run clean, run his race, and he'll pull away with a win. Especially he's right now currently running 9 seconds quicker than Pierre Byrne, Pete Herod right now, lap time wise as well.
Yeah, I've seen Pete jump into the Euro V8 car, the V8 Supercar before in the Euro V8 Supercar series. And, well, he seemed to adapt to that very quickly. He's adapting to this car quite impressively as well. So, yeah, driving very well and pushing maybe for a 2nd position, but podium regardless would be a very good effort for him. Also, Carl Janssen really dominating now in the GTEs. Very much thought that Thomas Tattler was going to be able to challenge him today after taking pole position in external qualifying. But right now, it seems like Carl Janssen is easing away, about 6 seconds clear now of the driver in 2nd place.
And Charles running a little bit smoother as well. And I have a feeling, too, that with Adam Farmer finally starting to get control of his car, I think he's starting to catch back up. And I think that might have been what caused Tomas to be a little bit slower lap time wise. Looking at the lap times, Carl Janssen ran a 7-minute 56 lap time compared to Tomas with the 56.7. So actually, sorry, it was 7-minute 53 second lap time for Carl Jansen, and then 2 miles was 3 seconds slower than that. So that was a big change there, and for race pace wise.
Yeah, definitely quite a difference. Just seems to maybe have that slight more confidence. It's all well and good setting one good lap and crashing on the other 9. That's what you can get away with in qualifying, but in the race, of course, that's not most likely the best option. As he really got to back off, but seemingly Carl being able to push very hard still. Adam Farmer, I think he may have come to the pits. He does seem to have improved his pace a little bit now. He'll be chasing after Carl Jansen. That one will be for position, but of course they are different classes.
Absolutely, as we're watching Carl right now, and looks like he's just been very smooth. Not attacking the corners too hard, but he is very, very smooth on the steering as well.
Yeah, what would you say the biggest challenge about the Nordschleife is, Tyler? Would you say it's like the curves that you attack, or is it the narrowness of the circuit, or is it kind of just keeping up that concentration? It's all so difficult around here.
I know for me, it's like just for my driving style, it would be more trying to keep the momentum, trying to keep the concentration going, as well as also too one of my downfalls is the curves, as there is some portions of the tracks where the curves are actually a little lower to the ground where you can be able to attack them a little more, but then there's like others like the carousel and even like some of this section here where you can attack the curves at one point, but then you get to another section where the curves are a little bit more aggressive, that if you try to hit the curbs, if you hit them the wrong way, it's going to really throw your car for a spin.
Yeah, absolutely, and that kind of ties into the concentration. You've got to keep your racing lines. You can't afford to kind of nod off, because just a slight too much attack on the curve and you can be in the wall very quickly. And keeping up a good intensity is absolutely fundamental. Antoine Cousin just seeing his incidents and yeah, falling down the field now. So he's currently in 5th position is Cousin, but I think he's going to be dropping a few more. As you can see, that car is going to need quite a few repairs, and he's about to lose out to Newman here.
Yeah, as Newman gets by, just from the quick angles I'm looking at towards it, it looks like Newman. I mean, that's Newman. It looks like Anton Cousins looks like he has that right front tire a little bit more camber than it should have on it, so it's really going to hurt him with trying to get the car turned. He's losing a lot of speed now.
Also, change for the lead. Fabrice Cornelius has got ahead of Patrick Ward, but they are very close to one another. As Patrick, will he be able to attack into this one? We've got LMP1 just ahead as well. And Patrick doesn't need to go for the move currently, and now going past the LMP1, trying to let the 2 leaders pass. And you know what? Patrick's got quite a nice run. How much energy do they have to use? Of course, they've got to really disperse it around the lap. It's quite difficult. And here comes Patrick down the inside. Will he try to do a little bit of a double tap? Just, yeah, try to use a little bit of energy just as they cross the line, but no, stays behind for now. And it'll be interesting now if Cornelius has kept up with his teammate with ease so far in this race. See if Wolf can do the same.
Absolutely, and they're just pulling. I mean, just looking at lap times in general for them both, as they're having a great battle as well. They're still pulling away from Julian Rublian. I hope I'm saying that right. I probably am butchering it as always.
But I think that might be completely wrong.
It might be Ribolo. I honestly, Julian, I'm sorry if I butchered it. Just you can yell at me on the chat if I make a mistake. But looking at the times though, it was still. I mean, Fabrice and Patrick are still running 7 seconds quicker than Julian, as well as Michael Schwanzel. It definitely shows their pace and how much commitment they have with this car and where they're able to get their speed at as well.
Yeah, definitely now half a minute clear. They're not going to lap. On any other circuit, they'd actually not be too far away from lapping, but this is not any other circuit, of course. And now, just looking at the laps, so they're 0.2 of the lap round compared to the back of the GTs, which are 0.5 of a lap round. So by my superior maths, 0.3 of a lap to go. So I don't know how long that's going to take them, but it's taken them so far 22 minutes. So probably by the halfway mark, we're going to be with the rest of the traffic. As we actually see it, HBD must have been into the pits already in this one. That is Radek Sikora. Shouldn't be too much of an issue for the two leaders.
Oh yeah, it looks like he was repairing some damage as well. As it looks like he was sitting in pit lane for over 5 minutes. So definitely must have had some issue with that HPD earlier in the.
After the purge that was the opening lap or so, we haven't had too many retirements since then. We've had, I think it's 7 overall so far in this race. And so, yeah, not too bad out there at the moment. But I expect there to be a couple of quite heavy casualties. We've seen this in the past on Apex Racing TV. Around this circuit, there's always chaos. And whilst it hasn't hit yet, could certainly happen in these next 37 minutes of this race. Sean Farrington currently trying to chase down Aidan Campbell. Those two only 7/10 of a second between each other. There's not really too many super close battles out there. They have kind of just separated out quite a bit so far in this race. Also got Farmer and actually Janssen. Farmer's just got past Janssen. Of course, that's HBD versus GT, so it doesn't matter too much. And let's see if Farrington can get into the slipstream here, because this car isn't too slipstream heavy. But I'm sure from 7/10 of a second back, it's certainly going to drag him closer as they enter the dot and home.
This should be when they come out of the long. Should be coming out the long straightaway now. So it's got to be interesting, as Farrington's only 0.6 of a second with that draft. If he's got the setup right, he should be able to close in on Adam Campbell very quick. But it looks like he's got a different approach on downforce, because he's not really gaining on Campbell that much.
Yeah, it was about 7/10 of a second. It's just edging down to 4/10 of a second. And now, all of a sudden, that extra speed really helping along Sean. But at this point, it's very difficult to go for a lunge. It's a bit suicidal, particularly at this point in the race. Maybe the last lap when you've got no other cars near you, it might be excusable. But this early on, there's absolutely no chance. But of course, another decent length straight here. And the gap is now down to just 0.3 of a second. A big breaking point at the end of this pit straight. As he drags closer, closer. It's not a whole lot, down to 0.2 of a second. Will he look to the inside? Campbell defending heavy. And round the outside now, they're going to switch back on each other, but not quite. Farrington tried to go around the outside, but just carried way too much speed.
Yeah, Farrington looked like tried to make sure not to lock up the tires as well, but that was a brave move for Farrington trying to make that overtake, but it did not work out, and he's already lost 0.8 of a second on Campbell now because.
Just checking everything's okay with Johan Hart out there. Whereabouts is he? Oh no, he's fine. So he just dropped down on my timing screen for a second there. So he just has a small lockup. I think that's pretty much been as bad as it's been out there for him. But yeah, go back to that battle that we briefly saw. Neidhart versus Matthew Zach? I think so. Anyway, that's the battle for 5th and 6th positions in GT currently. As, yeah, Hart easing away from this field. 2 seconds faster than the rest of the field on that last one.
Yep, as looks like Mikel Garcia is closing up on Johan Hart, but it looks like Mikel's going to wait for a better opportunity to make a pass, since he is a lap down already from an earlier.
Yeah, full lap down actually, yeah, like you said, on the HPD driver, so this isn't even full position. Might actually be able to catch him up by the end of the race, but of course it doesn't really matter. Just about finishing the race, and of course, these guys, you know, it's always nice to get a good result for the result worthy, but certainly iRacing as well, very important for these drivers. You want to keep it up, you want to be in as many of these top split races as possible, so continuing to the end is certainly worth it. Of course, Garcia struggling to get close currently, doesn't want to take out the leader obviously, and do that carousel, really struggling is the LMP1.
Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if they couldn't repair a lot of the damage. It looks like the cars have been fully the outer shell has been fully repaired from what I've seen, because I know he was involved in that lap 1 incident at the start. But I wonder if there's any kind of extra little damage that might be internal that it can't be done real quick.
Aidan Campbell having to defend currently against Yunu Karima. That gap has quite quickly come down. That last lap, Campbell did manage to pull away by about half a second, but on this one, what you can see really closing in is Yuna. Well, of course, as I've said already, around this part of the circuit, very difficult to make the move, and this is how the gap got so close in the first place. Lost a few tenths on this lap, lost to, yeah, in fact, close to a second. And, yeah, really close between the two of them now.
Heard a little bit of tire slide there on the forward of Campbell. But seems like the tires are really screaming now as this run's really taken into effect now.
Yeah, because tyres, they won't have to change tyres at the pit stop, but you're absolutely right in terms of them overheating. There's very little relief for these drivers. Of course, got the hope they can cool down quite a bit, but around the rest of the circuit, it's pretty much just corner after corner. And of course, just one slide can really ruin your grip bump.
Absolutely, and it looks like 32 Sean Farrington had a little bit of a lock up there as we're looking at this battle of Dennis Neihard and Piotr Mazuka, and looks like the 20 is going to make a clean pass around Pierre there. Good battle overall still, though, as these guys are still duking it out on long term.
Yeah, this is one of the best overtaking points on the circuit. Quite steep uphill, this part of the track. And, yeah, making that one stick is Neidhart. So, yeah, up one position into 5th place in the GTE field. Up 10 places, actually, overall. Up 11 is Piotr. As going a little bit wide there, but of course just taking a slightly alternative line.
As they're coming into the carousel now, slowing up big time to be able to make it through the corner. It looks like the 20's just got a little bit better run off the carousel, and he's pulling away. Looks like the car's starting to work into his advantage now. It looks like 16's just struggling to try to catch up and keep up with them.
Yeah, but once he's got that move done now, all of a sudden off into the distance. But unfortunately for Neidhart, he's got 14 seconds up to Jason Dyer, so that's going to be a very difficult one for him to catch. Yeah, quite an unlikely one, so could be quite a dull race for him, but of course got to keep his concentration up to consolidate that 5th place. I guess the leaders in the LMP1s now maybe just approaching some of the GTE traffic, which could be very important out there. Just looking, they're 4.5 laps complete. Yeah, they're about 1/10 of a lap to catch still, so a few minutes. And well, we've seen actually this season, Tyler, that they've been able to go some 45, even more than 45 minutes on a tank of fuel. Is this circuit particularly fuel consumption heavy, do you reckon, or is it a little bit less than the others that we've visited?
I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'm still baffled over last week with how long they were able to last with running around Circuit of the America, and Circuit of America's. I know they've got a lot of turns and a few long straightaways as well, like how Nordschleife is. But I honestly, with how long this track is, I really don't know. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised they come in now to play the safe game, but the way these guys are battling, I can't figure it out right now, honestly.
Yeah, it certainly makes sense to pit now because they might. Well, they're not going to jump them, are they? The thing is, they're probably going to have to go through the traffic anyway. But what they don't want to do is they don't want to get past half the traffic, pit, and then have to re-overtake them all because, you know, going through traffic is probably going to lose you some about 15 seconds a lap. And so the tactical game is going to be very important. Can they do one more lap after this one before reaching the traffic? That's going to be the big question. And I must say, from my view at least, they are going to catch them about midway through the next lap. So maybe pitting on this one could be a wise decision. But will be absolutely fascinating to see what they do up there.
Absolutely, because I'm right now looking at where both Fabrice Cornelis and Patrick Wolf are. They're right now they're already 3/4 of a lap through working on their fifth lap. The few other lead lap cars that are still in the GTE field. Clive Lawrence is the last one, and he's right now almost 3.9 laps in now, so they're definitely closing in on the GTE field. But it'd be interesting to see what kind of strategy they play, because if they catch up to that GTE field, then after they've already passed the start-finish line, things could really shake up in the race between these two.
Absolutely, and hopefully he'll bring in the likes of Julien Ribeault. It's unlikely that's going to happen though. 38 seconds between second and third currently. So I think that's a while off, unfortunately. But we'll have to wait and see. They certainly got to have the wit about them. The drivers in blue currently.
Absolutely. Well, as also too, we could have a decent battle brewing for third with Julien Ribeault and Michael Schwanzel, because Schwanzel's only 5 seconds behind them, so still some good battling going on. It's still a lot of strategies in play as well, because this could be near the end of the race. We could also be seeing a great battle between those two.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the two leaders have stayed out this lap. As Patrick Wolf actually, going into the pits there is Fabrice Cornelis, so maybe taking my advice with the catching up to traffic, but they were still a while behind, so this is going to be really interesting. Certainly isn't fuel limited, this, because we know that they can go at least 10 minutes longer than this. So they could have done another lap, but Fabrice Cornelis into the pits already.
Yeah, now this will be interesting to see which strategy works out, because I wonder if Patrick's going to try to stay out and take his chances on getting around the GTE field a lot quicker, because once he catches up to the GTE field, depending on what part of the Nordschleife that he'll be at when he catches up to the GTE field, that'll really play a factor onto how Fabrice is going to be able to catch up, because Fabrice is going to have clean open track. And Patrick Wolf, on the other hand, once he catches up to that GTE field, that's going to be a big time loss there.
Yeah, absolutely, and he is going to catch them by the end of this lap, so maybe a mistake there from Patrick Wolf, but of course he was behind, so maybe felt the need to do something a little bit differently. Crucially, Fabrice Cornelis got out ahead of Julien Ribeault, so no traffic for him. Like you said, Tyler, completely clean track for him. Haven't checked in on Johan Hart for a while in the LMP2s, but he is still leading very comfortably. You can see him out there ahead of Pierre Verne and Pete Howard, so that top three not changing too much, and actually very few incidents so far in the HPDs. We've had 3 retirements so far, but they came in the opening couple of laps, as you see, an LMP1 car off the circuit, maybe even hitting the wall as well. So we see more drivers come in the LMP1 field. It was Garcia hitting the wall, already a driver a couple of laps down on the race leaders. Well, that's not going to help his efforts one bit.
Definitely not. With how far down he is, and the top 6 LMP1s ahead of him are all still on the same lap. It's going to be a big struggle for Garcia to try to make up any spots. It's more now just trying to survive to the end, and maybe see about working on that setup for a later run.
So this is what we were talking about earlier on. Getting into the traffic now is Patrick Wolf. Next up for him, I think, was the driver we were just watching, William Boisver. And yeah, there's a couple more after that, so it can be a tough lap this for Patrick Wolf. We'll have to wait to see how it turns out. Well, of course, Carl Janssen also still leading the way in the GTEs as Johan Hart comes into the pits. We saw him come in early to fix some repairs at Circuit of the Americas 1 week ago. Pitting slightly earlier than maybe we'd expect, but at the same time, it's only got 23 more minutes in this race, so it's going by quite quick. And of course, even if he has got 5 more minutes of fuel in that car, that's not enough to do an entire lap. It really does throw out normal strategy this circuit. It's totally different, and clearly hard adapting to that today.
Absolutely is. Right now, we're watching Patrick Wolf. He should be catching up on the 26 of William Bosworth now, as they're practically almost on the same section now. Looking at the lap times, should be within. I want to say he should be within maybe 2 or 3 seconds of catching up to William Bosworth right now.
Yeah, haven't quite seen him up the road yet, but look out for a GTE car. Of course, trying their absolute hardest, giving it. Leaving nothing on the table in this LMP1, just waltzing up to the back of these GTEs, and William is only just ahead. Then a little bit more of a gap to the next bunch of GTEs, so he'll maybe have a few corners spare, but you can see already getting into this traffic. He's been free for about half a lap, but this traffic in the next half a lap could be very costly for the German.
Yep, as he's closing in on the GTE field, this is going to get interesting, as it's going to be in the carousel where he's going to catch up to him. This is where he made big dive bomb there, but he's able to hold it. Whew, that could have been disastrous if the William Bosworth didn't see him in time.
Yeah, it could have been really quite bad, couldn't it? Because, it was quite a late move, like he said. Now he's got a couple, a few more seconds up to the next GT cars, but you can already hear them, I think, up the road. So they can't be that far up. You know what? He's not going to maybe lose too much time. There's only going to be about a minute of circuit, maybe, where he's going to be held up. So it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be for him. And this might still work out for Patrick Wolf. It's not all over for him.
Yeah, and looking at the how the laps completed for Fabrice as well, it looks like Fabrice is also going to getting ready to catch up to some of those lap cars as well. He's still got a 1/10 of a lap, so he's still got plenty of room to run full pace, full speed. But this pit stop for Patrick Wolf, whenever he does, it's going to really make or break him.
Yeah, just losing a little bit of time here. Maybe a second lost. Of course, they were so close to one another when they came into the pits originally. That could be costly. Again, got a little bit of space. And you know what? That might be the only time he loses in traffic, apart from maybe the final corner if he's unlucky. Because actually, quite a sizable margin. There are a few cars just up the road, as you can hear them. But he's going to catch them on the dot now, and this might just work out perfectly for Patrick Wolf. Yeah, going to lose barely any time.
And update on the GTE field: Carl Jansen, Tomas Toledo, Alexei Arkan, and Jason S. Dwyer are all in the pits for the GTE.
Right, okay. So, seemingly quite a consensus that they can't go any further. And, so maybe not quite as far as we thought they would do. Carl Jansen, crucially, out ahead of the rest.
Absolutely, and he still has that about 5-second gap on Adam Farmer, which is kind of shocking as well, seeing that Farmer's lost some time to Carl Jansen again. But Carl Jansen, though, is still over 11-second gap over the 5 car of Thomas Tilela and Alexecki as well. So it's Carl Jansen's just running a very clean race, and might be his advantage on winning this race.
Kayama getting a little bit closer to Farrington in the pits. There's so many sections I actually have to scroll across the live timing board just to see. There's apparently 13 sectors around this circuit. It's quite a long one. Actually, I can't see their pit stops time, but certainly Kayama a little bit closer to Farrington. Only a second between those two GTEs as Wolf is stationary, and I'm pretty sure Cornelius is going to take back the lead here. After leading earlier on, where is Patrick Wolf in comparison? And he's still stationary. Wow. Is this a lot longer pit stop? I've got 14 seconds longer. It wasn't that much. Yeah, it was. He's now about 12 seconds off his teammate.
Possible speeding penalty, maybe?
Yeah, because that's 15 seconds, so that would match up pretty well.
That's I wonder. We'll have to see if the replay might show it because that's interesting. As got the replay of Patrick already in the pits. That will be interesting to see how quick he came into the pits because that could definitely decide it too. And
Yeah,
here
and
he
if
is.
it weren't for that 15 seconds, he would have been leading this race by about 4 seconds. So he'd done enough. Yeah, he didn't quite slow down, did he?
Yeah, I think he got hit with a speeding penalty because the way that engine sounded, that to me sounded like he was pushing to get to the pits and just a little bit too quick because he was still slowing down after he passed the yellow commitment cones.
Could certainly catch up by the end of this race. Any other circuit, it'd be super difficult. But around this one, with a little bit of luck with the traffic, as the sun sets here at North Schleifer, it may not be all over for Patrick Wolf. Still 37 seconds ahead of Julien Ribelet. A few of the LMP2s then staying out. Maria Holweck and Ellie Dove. Yeah, staying out there, but Johan Hart, of course, will end up as the leader, of course. Oh, sorry, Maria did come into the pits. Everyone, in fact, came into the pits for the LMP2s. Everyone came into the pits in the GTEs as well. So that was certainly the limit in terms of the fuel. Only got 16 more minutes of this race to go. So the fuel not lasting too long out here. Of course, that long Dottner straight and so many fast corners. You're on the throttle quite a bit around here. Play that fuel consumption very high today.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's going to be interesting to see how a lot of this plays out, especially with the GTE field. GTE field's still pretty close, but at the same time, too, Patrick Wolf and with Patrick Wolf's race and Fabrice, that'll be interesting to see if Patrick Wolf can overcome that 15-second penalty he got for speeding. See if he can come back and try to win this race.
Yeah, will be quite some comeback if he can pull it off. Diego Melri running in 4th position currently. He's only 5.5 seconds off Pete Howard. Will he be able to close in by the end of this race? On that last lap, he was over a second faster. When I say over a second faster, I mean 1.1 seconds faster. So not much over a second. Pete Howard seemingly quite secure out there. And yeah, so he's maybe going to come under a little bit of pressure. Really not too many battles up there, unfortunately, today. Hopefully, really, was hoping for some really long queues, particularly in the GTs. But unfortunately, we haven't seen too many battles out there. Have got Farrington versus Karaman. As I said before, those two got a little bit closer during the pit stop window. And actually, Karaman now within 0.7 of a second. So after Farrington got past earlier on in this race, seemingly Yuna just getting a little bit closer in these closing stages.
As looks like the 29's starting to run a little bit quicker lap times as well. Looks like the previous lap times between the two units had a 1.2 second lap time quicker than Farrington. But as we're looking at this battle now, it's really getting interesting. As oh boy, here comes the LMP1. That's actually Patrick Wolf. That was, I think that caught off the Porsche and the Ford off very quickly. They weren't expecting him to pop into view on.
Here comes Neidhart trying to get in the slipstream. Who is going to get the slipstream here? But you know what? I think he's got the momentum anyway. That Ford racing along. No, not quite. Just having to stick him behind. Maybe have the outside line. Having to go ever so slightly longer distance. Now this surely isn't overtaking spot. He's going to try to make it work though. And now getting the cutback. Maybe an opportunity for a slight surprise. He does widen ever so slightly the circuit into this next corner. And now they will approach the castle, running a little bit wide there, maybe just preventing the attack is Neidhart. But yeah, really struggling there is Farrington. He's now 19 seconds off Dyer. I said how earlier on he was 14 seconds behind and looking to maybe close the gap. Well, it's been anything but closing as we might get side by side once again. And we are going to get side by side and we're almost getting a little bit of contact. And that could have almost been a crash as well. But getting the move done there is Dennis Neidhart. He was closing in very quickly. And well, that's a very opportunistic overtake.
Absolutely, that could have. Yeah, that could have ended the disaster very quick. That was great aggressive move by Dennis, but man, at the same time, if he made one mistake and hit one of those rumble strips a little too hard, man, that would have launched him into Eunice. That would have ended both of their races.
Farrington's lap times, I don't think has really slowed down too much in these past few laps. It's just the others are all of a sudden picking up a bit of extra speed. The track temperature is cooling ever so slightly, I believe. 26 degrees currently, is running a little bit wide. Is that going to be a slowdown for Neidhart? Maybe not. I thought he maybe took a little bit too much curve there, but seems to have got away with it. But down the Dotnaho, this could be a fascinating battle, with Karima, of course, getting the double slipstream.
Looks like Eunice is just gonna have to be patient here. Wait until they get to the long straightaway and see if he can make an opportunity on passing both Dennis and Sean. So still a lot of battling going on for fifth spot right now in the GTEs.
So he's going to get the right launch. They've all really closed up all of a sudden. This could be good for Karma, but is that 4 straight line speed? Because Neidhart has really shown, at least from when we've seen him, some great straight line speed up there, just dropping a little bit of time. But it's going to have some launch here. Down the Dotnaho they go. 0.4 of a second. He's surely going to be side by side by the time they enter the final corner. Just dropping back behind that Ford. Look at the horsepower it's got. It's pulling alongside and pulling into 5th position now. There's Neidhart, goes from 7th to 5th in a matter of corners, and now all of a sudden going to lose another position because Yuna Karima is going through as well, and while seeming a little bit of damage for Sean Farrington, that might be the reason why he's dropped back into his rivals and now dropped behind them.
Yeah, it looks like that front splitter is taking some damage on Farrington. Almost looks as if he just made like a little mistake. As here he goes into the pit.
Yeah, Karima as well. Have they already pitted these guys?
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, they have.
It looks like
Farrington certainly
looks
pitted.
like, yeah, it looks like he missed his pit stall, I'm guessing. I wonder if they didn't get enough fuel in the car.
Yeah, maybe misjudged the amount of laps? Or surely they didn't get a stop-go penalty, did they? Because you can only get that on pit exit, of course. And that...
Looking...
So yeah, maybe Farrington, as Sam said, just missing his pit stall the first time, having to go straight to the pits, and now has to take some fuel the second time.
Possibly, as both drivers had an 11-second pit stop and a 20-second pit stop, so definitely interesting there. It definitely knocks them out of contention for top 5 for both of them, which now with Dennis jumping up in front, Dennis has now got a wide clear gap now where he can try to chase after Jason Dwyer, even though he's only about 16 seconds behind, but Dennis has got that opportunity if he's able to take advantage.
So it means that Simon Esches goes up a position. I think he's up into 7th place now. And of course for Dennis Neidhart, after a couple of really good overtakes, really, they weren't really worth anything. He would have been able to take that 5th place regardless. Out in the lead, it's closed up a bit. Was up at about 10.5 seconds at one point in this race, about 10 minutes ago. Now, between Fabrice Cornelius and Patrick Wolff, only 4.5 seconds. And, well, the traffic's going to be absolutely fundamental to these guys' races. Are they going to catch the HPDs by the end of this one? They might not. They're going to have this one and then one more, so they're not going to go too far over the 1 hour time limit. So yeah, I don't think they're going to be able to catch the PTs in time.
Yeah, I don't think they will, but at the same time, watching the gap for Patrick Wolff just keep dropping and dropping, as Wolff has already gotten around the GTE field, so Wolff's going to be pushing it, trying to get as quickly as he can to catch up to Fabrice Cornelius. As that gap's dropping now, it's already now getting below 4 seconds. So Wolf's really pushing it, knowing he's only got one more lap after this to try to make any opportunity of it.
Yeah, he's going to be able to give it his absolute all, and he's probably going to be able to catch by the end of this race. Is it going to go down to the dot and a hope on the final lap? That would be absolutely fantastic if it does. Certainly would be the only worthy way, because they've been so evenly matched out there, as Pierre Verne has a mistake. So he was running in second place, and you know what, he might not be running in second place for much longer, because Pete Harrod is going to be maybe pulling alongside, not plugging into the slipstream yet is Harrod, because he's got so much overspeed anyway. He's going to be able to take that position. We wait to see if Verne has got a little bit more damage than it initially shows.
That left rear's got some pretty decent damage, as well as that left wing as well. The looks like that left wing wing's got a little bit of it bend in it as well. So he's definitely has made some contact somewhere.
It was. He was pretty much cruising to second position, wasn't going to catch up to Johan Hart. And, wow, loses the rear end there, and then loses it the second time. That was really unusual and quite unlucky there, I thought.
Well, the way the car spun, that was interesting. Almost looked like the suspension. I almost want to say the suspension just didn't cooperate with them. I'm looking back in the live stream to see if I can look at it again real quick, but that was an interesting wreck to say the least. It just looked like he just lost it by himself. That's interesting wreck there for Pierre Verne. That's really going to be costly for him now, trying to catch up with Pete Harrod to try to get back second place.
Look at these two now. It was at 10.5 seconds. That will feel a long time ago for Fabrice Cornelis, because it looks as though he was in a very strong position, but he's going to have to fend off his teammate for a lap and a bit.
I'm
so
looking
close between the two of them.
I'm looking as well. Looks like Fabrice has got a little bit of damage on that right front. Oh, this is going to get interesting.
The nose to tail. Patrick Wolff is looking for a move in areas of the circuit where you would not usually even think about it against such a quality opponent, but that's the overspeed that he's got, whether it's due to damage from his rival or whether it's just his incredible speed right now. He's got the momentum. He's been able to push pretty much with nothing to lose for the past few laps. And now, as we come on to the end of lap 8 here, Patrick Wolff takes back the lead. The pole sitter back into the lead, and Fabrice Cornelis really struggling up there. Has he run out of fuel, perhaps?
No. If you look closer at his right front. Yeah, I was gonna say if you look closer at his right front, he's got some pretty significant damage on that right front, so it's definitely hurting him.
Yeah, should be okay from the drivers behind. You can see how much time he's losing out there. Not sure if it's steering damage or just aerodynamic. I think it's both for him. He's got 55 seconds back to Julien Ribeiro. He's going to be okay. But, well, Patrick Wolff, again, a bit of an anticlimactic finish between those two. Wolff on the Circuit of the Americas got spun by a GT car with a lap and a bit to go. And today, Fabrice Cornelis making a mistake himself, costing him maybe a chance at the race win. As Pierre Verne is going to lose another position with the damage he's got.
Yeah, it's Pierre dropping out of the podium spot now for HPDs, and Diego's going to be loving it right now, as he still has an opportunity to catch up to Pete Harrod, as he does have 4 seconds gap, and right now the way he's running, he might have an opportunity to catch up to Pete Harrod. It'll be close, but still a lot of track left.
Oh, Melvin! Oh, that's a curse and a half.
And my apologies. I guess he's gonna have to send some hate mail to me now, because I think that's my first commentator's curse of the year. Oh, he just lost it on his own there. A little too much speed, and just the car just snapped on him.
Well, that is a curse if I've ever seen one, because he's been pretty much error-free so far as Diego Mello, apart from maybe one spin I think he had, and all of a sudden, maybe with the damage he's just accumulated, is he going to be able to get back past Pierre Verne and certainly be the favourite? Because down the don't know how he's going to have a lot more speed, but he's going to have to get a move on it with it, and he's not he's certainly not allowed to make any more mistakes if he's going to get a podium out of this one.
Absolutely, only 1.8 seconds, and with how Pierre Verne's damage instead of, I don't think it'll be too hard for the 12 to catch back up. But as long as he doesn't, okay, yeah, I better not say anything. I've already jinxed them once. I better not say any more.
Of course, Carl Janssen easing to win. He's now on his final lap. Still, I think he's 17 seconds ahead of OMS Tatea. 13 seconds actually, so the gap's, no, it's still increasing actually. 1 second faster on that last lap. Really, 8-minute mark, sub 8 minutes is extremely quick, and he's been able to put it in lap after lap out there. Alexei Azakin in 3rd position, just ahead of Jason Tai. It's been a bit frustrating this one because 4 seconds between the two of them, and yet we haven't really seen a proper wheel-to-wheel battle between them. It kind of just shows the quality of this field that they are just able to put in lap after lap within a second of each other. And of course, such a long circuit. That's very impressive. Dyer, yeah, 4 seconds behind. Doesn't look as though he's going to be able to put any pressure for the podium.
Absolutely, and I mean, unless the 9 makes some kind of big mistake, that's gonna be the only way that Dwyer's gonna be able to catch up. And also, too, I'm looking at the live timing, and it looks like the 12 has gotten back around Pierre Verne for 2nd.
Yeah, just made that move there, did Diego Melro, I believe. So 1.2 seconds between the two of them. They've still got another lap to go.
Okay, the timing scared me there for a second. I thought Johan Hart wrecked, but it's timing decided to fix itself again. So always a nice little scare for me there.
Well, hopefully for him, he's got enough fuel. Well, in fact, he's already started the next lap. We got these guys, still got the Dr. Ho and a few more corners to go, and Johan Hart is already on his final lap, so miles ahead, quite literally, out there. Pete Hurd, yeah, still 8 seconds ahead of Diego Mello, so will probably be quite a relaxed final lap for these guys. Maria Holweck might just catch up to Pierre Verne by the end of this one. 5.5 seconds between the two of them, and Maria, I think, is lapping about 10 seconds a lap faster, so yeah, gonna catch him by the end of the race.
Well, that'll be interesting, as the gap has dropped down to about 5 seconds, so still an opportunity for Maria Holweck to take advantage and get around Pierre Verne. As the gap's now down to 4 seconds, really closing in on Pierre Verne now.
Yeah, he's certainly going to catch his Maria. Going to probably catch during the Nordschleife section though, so probably going to have to wait until Dr. Ho to get the job done most likely. It's a 21 car. Patrick Wolf though hasn't got too many more corners to go. Well, I say that, he's got about a quarter of a lap to go until he is the race winner, so that's quite a far distance at this circuit.
Johan Har's just pulling away over a minute and 20-second gap over Pete Herod. It's absolute, just great run by Johan Har, who's dominating the HPD fields week after week. Other than the one little mistake last week that he had, but it ended up being a very good advantage with the two leaders having issues and getting tangled up in a GTE mess at Circuit of the Americas. That was the only way that Johan Hart won at Circuit of the Americas last week. But week after week, though, he's been very impressive overall.
Yeah, he's been really impressive as Johan Hart, of course, the double reigning champion. So he's certainly the man to beat up there. And so far, drivers have very much struggled to do so. He's been absolutely superb this season. Patrick Wolf, though, I think, is coming down the Dotnaho currently at the end of this race. Of course, already past the time limit, and actually he's already won the race. Patrick Wolf wins out here at the Nordschleife. Well done to him. That was, in the end, got away with that mistake he made going into the pits, picking up a 15-second penalty. Got away with it, and still is able to beat Fabrice Cornelis. Maybe if it weren't for that mistake from Cornelis, hitting the wall at the carousel, he could have won this one. But at the same time, he was still coming under big pressure from his teammate. And hopefully, that rivalry will reignite next week. Julien Ribeaud quite a distant third place. The next, of course, race winner we're going to see is Carl Janssen. He's just heading down the Dotnaho currently. He's got a massive lead over Thomas Tartea. And actually, no, he hasn't even started the Dotnaho yet. Has still got that section of corners to go. But he's been superb so far as Carl Janssen. Driver who's tried out, I think, pretty much every car in this series, but certainly showing his class in this GT. And yeah, he's just not really put a foot wrong, which is extremely impressive around such a difficult circuit.
Absolutely, Carl's one of those drivers that he can find the cars that work for him and the ones that he likes, that he knows he can run quick, and he'll definitely jump into them. Impressive run by Carl, especially 15, almost 16-second gap over the 5 car. And all he has to do is just make it through these last few corners, and he'll lock up the win in the GTE field.
Yeah, really quite getting quite dark now. It is what time is it? It's 7:40 local time. As Carl Janssen just bounced the final corner, and he will win the GT class. Well done to him. Absolute domination after starting actually in second position, but got past Tartea pretty much in the first GP section of the race. And well, there is Tumas. Really impressive though from him, finishing in second place with Azakin, and Dyer going to finish in third and fourth. Dyer just closing up that gap to about 2 seconds at the end, but it's not going to be enough for him. Really no other GT battles going on up there, so I think we can pretty much pay our attention to Pierre Verne versus Maria Holweck for that battle for the HPD field, 4th place.
Yep, and looks like Pierre's doing everything he can right now. He's pushing the car a little bit. It's only a 1 second gap, so it's definitely closed up, and Maria's got a few opportunities to take advantage.
Yeah, is she going to be able to catch and pass at the end of this straight? I don't think going to quite catch up, although it's down to 0.3 of a second. The acceleration is so different, and off the circuit there and onto the curb, and nearly contact, and now through up into 5th position. Well, that was the difficult way to do it, but Maria Holweck up into 5th place.
Yeah, that was a great overtake move, and I don't know if Pierre Verne's going to have an opportunity, especially with that left rear damage. I think he's just going to take his medicine and just be happy with the 5th place finish right now, and being able to keep it as clean as possible. And yeah, as he's running the high side of the carousel, knowing that he can't be able to try to be aggressive. So it looks like Maria's definitely going to hang on to this 4th place finish.
Yeah, very impressive comeback drive there. Johan Hart is approaching the line now. He's only got a few more corners to go. And, well, I've already talked about how good he has been today, really asserting his dominance on this series. And he's going to have quite a big points advantage in the championship after today. Johan Hart, the number 3 driver, approaches the line. And he's also going to win here at the Nürburgring in the P2 class. Up to domination out there. So far ahead of the rest of the field. In fact, he's 1.5 minutes clear of the rest of the pack. That's quite incredible. Pete had miles back. As I said earlier on, quite literally miles back. And yeah, 11 seconds ahead of Diego Melo. It's still very impressive for a driver who was quite inexperienced in this car.
Absolutely, and still being able to pull away with us gonna be finishing in second as long as he makes these last few corners clean. I mean, it's still a very impressive drive by Pete Harrod and taking advantage of other people's mistakes, especially Pierre Verne, who's had a really unfortunate mistake there near the end of the race that cost him a podium finish. But still an impressive drive by Pete Harrod and a few other drivers.
Just getting darker by the minute. It feels yeah, it was quite light whilst Patrick Wolf was crossing line, but here comes Pete Harrod to approach the line, and yeah, he's going to be able to take second place. Very impressive from him. And of course, then it'll be Diogo Mauro, Maria Holweck, and Pierre Verne, and also Ellie Dove to round out the field. I think we can probably go through the standings. Hopefully it won't mess up the standings too much. And of course, in the P1 field, it was absolute domination from Pure Racing Team. They finished 1 and 2 in that class, and overall, of course, Patrick Wolf winning out. In the end, half a minute clear of Fabrice Cornelius because of a mistake from Cornelius near the end. Julien Riblo was in 3rd place with Michael Schonsel in 4th. Antoine Cousin, despite a mistake, in 5th. And then, oh, sorry, not 5th, apologies. That was Arkadiusz Newman in 5th place, and then behind that was Balaspire in 6th. And then the retirements were Garcia, Houndsley, Cousin, Tassi, and Kankapati. In the LMP2s, which is just finishing right now, so these results may be slightly wrong on your screen, but Johan Hart winning out there by an incredible margin, about 1.5 minutes ahead of Pete Harrod. Then it's Diego Melo, Maria Holweck, and Pierre Verne. Of course, running for that second place was Verne, but made a mistake, and it cost him very heavily in the end. Ellie Dove was just behind there, and then Muller and Farmer were 1 lap down, and Saikora, Bonda, and Frick as well with the retirements. In the GTEs, Carl Janssen, again, absolute domination by just over 10 seconds ahead of Tumas Tartea, and then behind that was Alexei Azakin, Dyer, Neidhart, Matuzak, Esches, Karima, Campbell, Farrington, Buzas, Boisver, Amadorfer, Lawrence, and then the retirements were Joachim and Lanza. So I think pretty much everyone has now crossed the line. So yeah, those results are official. And sometimes we get some interviews with the drivers, but at the moment not. So we will look ahead to what track is next up in this series. Of course, we'll be returning next week. And next up is Motegi, so a slightly more conventional circuit. But yeah, a bit of a unique circuit at the same time, Tyler. And yeah, will be an interesting one. A track that usually does work very well with these cars.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the Motegi, it's a real technical course as well, especially with the first half of the track. How they have the double right-hander at the start for turns 1 and 2, and then you get another little sharp left-hander that's more of acts like a double apex corner, and it will throw a lot of drivers off guard going through that corner. So expect a lot of overtaking moves there, as well as the back half of the track as well, heading back to the start-finish line. There's a few chicanes in that area heading towards the start-finish line. So I expect some great racing, and there's going to be some really good overtakes, I think, coming into that race as well next week.
Yeah, that should be quite one. That should be a good one to watch. Certainly, hope to have you along for that one. Or same time next week, because tomorrow we have the BSR Radical League, and then on Saturday we actually have the media day for the UAV8 Supercar Series, which will be very good fun. And on Sunday, we'll also have the Apex Racing League's 3.5 Renault Series. So certainly do keep tuned on Apex Racing TV. And actually, next Monday, we've also got the return of the World GT Championship, which will be very, very good to watch. So certainly do keep your eyes peeled on our channel. Of course, if you haven't already, leave the video a like and also subscribe to our channel. But for now, from me, from Tyler, and from Sam, we'll say goodbye, and we'll see you next time.